Today we step into the life of a woman whose story begins in shame but ends in salvation. A woman society called unworthy but heaven called chosen. Her name is Rahab, and her story reminds us that God does not discard people because of their past. He redeems them for His purpose. Let's start with her name. Her name, Rahab, in Hebrew means broad, wide, spacious. Spiritually, her name carries a prophetic message. God has the power to take a narrow, broken life and make it spacious with grace and destiny. Rahab lived in a city of Jericho, a fortified city marked for destruction. She was known as a prostitute, someone society had already written off. But one day, everything changed. 2 Israelite spies were sent by Joshua to scout the land. They entered Jericho and came straight to Rahab's house. Why her house, somebody would ask. Because even her brokenness, God positioned her story at the center of divine activity. The king of Jericho heard the spies were there and sent soldiers to capture them, but Rahab hid them. She made a bold decision. She chose to protect God's people instead of pleasing the king of her city. Then she said something powerful. I know that the Lord has given you this land, for the Lord your God is God, in heaven, above and on the earth below. In that moment, faith was born in her heart. Rahab made a deal with the spies. She spared their lives, and in return, they promised to spare hers and her family's life. When Jericho was destroyed, they gave her a scarlet cord and told her to tie it in her window as a sign of protection. That scarlet cord became more than a signal. It became a symbol of redemption. A picture of blood covering, mercy speaking, louder than judgment. When Jericho fell, Rahab and her family were saved. Now here are some life lessons from her story. The first lesson is, God sees faith, not your label. Rahab was labeled by society, but God labeled her by destiny. Your past does not disqualify you from purpose. Lesson number 2. One decision can change your entire lineage. Rahab didn't just save herself, she saved her family. Sometimes your obedience becomes generational protection. Lesson number 3. Faith requires risk. She risked her life to protect strangers because she believed in their God. True faith is not safe, it is surrendered. Lesson number 4. God can place destiny in unexpected places. A woman in a city marked for destruction became part of God's redemption plan. Your environment does not cancel your calling. Lesson number 5. Redemption is always louder than reputation. Rahab's story didn't end in shame. She is later listed in the genealogy of Jesus Christ. Yes, Rahab became part of the lineage of the Messiah. God doesn't just forgive, He integrates you into purpose. Now, let's pray through her story. The first prayer is prayer for identity and healing. Lord, deliver me from labels that don't come from you. Let me see myself as you see me. Prayer point number 2. There's a prayer for bold faith. Father, give me courage like Rahab to choose you even when it costs me comfort or approval. Prayer number 3. Prayer for generational redemption. Lord, let my obedience protect and transform my family line. Prayer number 4. Prayer for divine repositioning. God, place me in spaces where my life becomes part of your greater plan, even if it looks unlikely. Prayer number 5. Prayer for redemption of the past. Lord, turn every shameful part of my story into a testimony of your mercy. Rahab reminds us of this truth. God does not begin your story where people left you. He begins it where faith is born. And sometimes the most unlikely person becomes the most unforgettable testimony. So, if you ever feel disqualified, remember Rahab, because in God's kingdom, grace always has the final word.